Hi everyone, it's Jazz from Blogging Money Life. Welcome to the September Q&A. So, for those of you who may be new to the monthly Q&As, I usually do these for between an hour or 45 minutes to an hour. I answer your questions that you may have about blogging, and yeah, it's a really interactive experience. So I always start off by telling a little bit about me and my experience with blogging, and then I start answering questions. So if you have any questions to ask in regard to blogging, feel free to post those in the comments and I will get to those. So to get us started, I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself. My name is Jasmine. I blog over at Blogging Money Life with my husband, Chris. A little bit about us. We recently moved to Costa Rica with our two kitties, and we spend a lot of time blogging. I have been blogging for the last 10 years. So, starting Blogging Money Life was something that I wanted to do with Chris to teach other bloggers how to make money with their blogs. My first blog, called Miss Melanie Magazine, which is another one that I run, is what I've been doing for 10 years, and I learned a lot along the way to do it. Not only do I have a full staff for Miss Melanie Magazine, but my blog brings in anywhere from 5K to 10K a month. I've learned a little bit of everything from driving traffic to your blog, different ways to monetize your blog, different social media tips from Pinterest to Instagram to Facebook. And I've learned a little bit of everything else in between, from creating products to putting funnels together so that you can learn how to make money automatically, affiliate marketing, sponsored posts, just a wide variety of things that I've learned when it comes to blogging. And some things I have learned the hard way by just trying and true testing things out and seeing what works and what doesn't. And some other things I've learned from different blogging mentors. I've had about, I want to say four. I've had four different blogging mentors in my blogging career, and even more if you count the number of blogging courses that I've taken. I actually had a video go up today about my top 5 blogging courses. So definitely check that out on our YouTube channel, Blogging Money Life, if you haven't already. I can attest that most of those courses there are the reason why I made big jumps in my blogging career, from making more money with affiliate marketing through Making Sense of Affiliate Marketing, that course, or growing my Instagram account to over 10,000 followers using the Instagram domination method, which is also included in that video. But yeah, definitely big fan of blog courses. Check out the video to learn more about that. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit today about traffic to your blog, because I know that traffic can be a sore subject for a lot of bloggers. It is nothing more frustrating than putting all your heart and soul into a blog post, getting it published on your site, like having your little shaky finger hit that publish button, and then waiting to see what happens, only to get crickets, right? Not getting anyone to your content on your blog can be so frustrating. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my blog traffic strategy with you all today, while I'm waiting for some more questions to come in. As you guys are jumping into, because I see that there are more people who are viewing, definitely go ahead and post a comment. Let me know that you're here. Let me know where you are in the world, so I can say hi to you. And then, of course, like for anyone who has any questions, whether it's related to driving traffic to your blog or not, feel free to throw those in the comments as well so I can answer them for you. All right, so I want to start by talking about what my blogging traffic strategy has become and what I started when it came to my blogging traffic strategy. So, take you back to the beginning. When I first started my blog, I was pumping out content pretty regularly, like once a week, because I heard that that's something that you should do. Be consistent with your content and make sure you're publishing regularly. And I would publish a piece of content. Hey, Will, Bellins Wallet from Georgia. Nice to see you here. Um, so anyway, I would publish content fairly regularly and see no traffic to it. I did some research on ways to drive traffic, and what I learned was social media. So I signed up on all the social media channels: Facebook, Twitter. I didn't join Instagram immediately because when I first started blogging, Instagram did not exist. I know I'm like aging myself there a little bit. Um, but as those new social channels came to the scene, I definitely jumped in and made sure that I signed up for those as well, because if it's a new channel, that means there's just more opportunity for you to grow your traffic and quicker before everyone else figures out how to do it. And then it's a little more competitive to jump into a different social platform. So I'll definitely say that social media was my first place that I went to when it came to traffic, because that's what I heard you had to do. Um, I definitely noticed that after I published a blog post and I published it on all my social media channels, I did see a little bump in traffic, but it wasn't consistent. I would see a huge spike in my traffic on the day that my article got published, and then it would die. Right. So something that I started to think about was like, okay, how do I get my article to last longer outside of that one day or the first 3 days that it gets published? So I started looking for tools to make it so that I can post on social pretty regularly. I signed up for a tool called Meet Edgar, which was amazing because what it did was allowed me to schedule different social media posts, and I can schedule them and save them. So if you have a post, let's say, for example, check out my new blog post about blah, blah, blah. It's all about this, this, and that. Um, you may want to share that again in a month. So what Meet Edgar did is it puts my content for social in different folders and puts it on a rotation. So all of my content that's related to, let's say, for example, driving traffic to blog posts gets published every Tuesday. And then all my content that's related to monetizing blog posts gets published every Wednesday. It was amazing and super clean interface. Loved it. But the only thing is, it was kind of expensive. I can't remember how expensive it was at the time, but I did end up making the switch to a tool called Social Bee instead, because they had a sale happening on AppSumo. And I ended up getting a lifetime deal for Social Bee for 50 bucks. So I've had that for, I want to say, the last 3 years now. I'm using Social Bee. It does pretty much the same functions that Meet Edgar does. It allows you to create content for social media that you can use over and over again and put it on a rotation so that your content is getting regular traffic. So that was a huge win for me. And it made a lot more sense as I continue to get more content to my blog. So I set it up so that every day of the week, Mondays is this type of content, Tuesdays is this type of content, Wednesdays is this type of content, and it's being shared regularly to Facebook, to Twitter. They have it so you can share to Pinterest and Instagram as well, but I don't use it for those platforms because I actually have different social media scheduling tools for Instagram and Pinterest, and I'll talk a little bit about why I do for that as well. So let's see here. I see. Hello, it's Chris from the kitchen. Chris is my husband, you guys. He works on Blogging Money Life with me. So hi, Chris. We already said hi to Well Balanced Wallet from Georgia. Hey there, that's my friend Kamika. She's awesome. And then we have Trending Spokane, Hell Kitchen Chris, who also says hello. So hey everyone, thanks for jumping on for the Q&A today. So jumping back into my story, I switched to Social Bee, and that was awesome because it allowed me to automatically share my content on different social media regularly without me having to post it manually every time an article got published. So every time it got shared on social media, now I'm getting traffic to it. But I was still seeing this like roller coaster of traffic to my content that was getting published. It wasn't something that was happening regularly, like a smooth um, uh, flow of traffic to my content. So I knew that I needed to look at some other ways to get traffic. And something that a lot of people were saying that I needed to focus on was Pinterest. So while Pinterest is in that family of social media, a lot of people consider it to be more of a search engine. because when people go to Pinterest, they don't just go and scroll their feed like they would on Facebook or Instagram. They go on there and they search like they would on Google or YouTube. So Pinterest is considered more of a search engine for that reason. And because it is considered more like search engine, which is great for bloggers because most of the content on Pinterest is blog content. And so thinking about Google versus Pinterest, if you are a blogger, Pinterest is definitely a platform that you want to be on. So I got a Pinterest account. I made sure that I created images to share on Pinterest for my blog posts. And the cool thing about Pinterest is you can add a Pinterest image to your article and use a sharing tool like Shareaholic. And what this does is if someone is reading your blog post and they say, oh, wow, this is exactly the content that I wanted to read, but I don't have time to read it right now, I'm going to share it to my board about blogging so that I can read it later. So they can click on your image in your blog post, share it to Pinterest so they can read it later on, which is awesome because now if they have that board that's public, their friends are going to see that post now and share it as well on Pinterest. So I loved Pinterest for that reason. I incorporated Pinterest into my strategy, and Pinterest is its own beast because there's so many things you can do from, like I said, adding a Shareaholic type of tool on your blog so that other people can share your Pinterest content, but also creating different boards on your Pinterest account and joining group boards. So group boards are something where you have people who have like a big group of different boards. And let's say you have a board related to finance and you share all of your finance content there. Well, you can share their content, they can share your content, and your content is just pretty much just going out to the masses, being shared with people who probably wouldn't typically find it. So that's one strategy that a lot of people use when it comes to Pinterest. Another is making sure that you are in different groups where you can do this on a more strategic level. So I use a tool called Tailwind. I told you I was going to get back to it, which is the tool I use to share on Pinterest. It's separate from Social Bee because it's a little bit more comprehensive for Pinterest. The one tool I absolutely love about Tailwind is their Tailwind Communities feature. And what this does is it's kind of like having share Facebook groups where you say, hey, I'll share your post if you share mine, but they actually keep count of what's being shared. So they'll keep count like, hey, Jasmine, I see you shared 5 pins from your blog, but you only reshared 2 pins from other people's blogs. So I know I need to get in there and share other people's blogs, more pins, so that they get an equal amount of credit as I'm getting. And also it makes it so that it's easier for people to manage those different communities and see who may be abusing the system, and then they get the boot. So once I started incorporating Tailwind Communities into my strategy, it was like night and day difference. This was a huge day for me because I remember seeing like, okay, I share my new blog post and then I share it to all the different Tailwind communities that are related to that blog post. And on the days where I shared it to Tailwind communities, I not only got a ton of traffic on that day, but I consistently got traffic for weeks after, because once you're in those Tailwind communities, now you're getting people who, they may only check it once a week or they may check every 2 weeks and they see your pin like, oh, this is nice, I'm going to share this too. So you're consistently seeing more and more traffic pick up from your things being added to Tailwind communities. Now, the one thing I will say about this is it is not automated. So you do have to manually go into communities and share it yourself on the day that your article gets published. But man, it is worth it. It is worth it every single time. I get a ton of freaking traffic. So just a little blur for Tailwind there. And one thing I would like to say about Pinterest, it has changed a little bit this past year. I know they've made quite a few changes when it comes to traffic that they're sending to bloggers. A lot of people have reported not seeing as much traffic as they have in the past from Pinterest, which I can attest to that too. I have not seen as much traffic coming from Pinterest as I have in the past. But what I will say is I am still getting traffic from Pinterest, y'all. Do not sleep on Pinterest. Like, it's still there. It is still dedicated to bloggers, and it is still a great way to get traffic to your blog. So definitely make sure you're on Pinterest. I would not say, oh, everyone's saying that it's kind of in a decline now, so I'm not going to sign up. Sign up for Pinterest. It's there. It was made for bloggers, and whatever foibles they may be making right now, it does not mean it's going to be like that forever. And it's still a good resource for traffic to your blog, even if it's not as much traffic. So Pinterest, a great way to get more traffic. Since we're on the topic of search engines, I think another big traffic moment for me was when I discovered SEO. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first started blogging, I heard this term SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, pretty early on. And when people were talking about it, I fell for the trap where they were saying, like, yeah, SEO is not as popular anymore. People are focusing more on social media, so don't even waste your time on SEO. So don't even worry about it. This is what it was 10 years ago, y'all. People were saying the same thing they were about SEO as they're saying about Pinterest right now. So you see where I'm picking up on this. Just because Pinterest is not doing as great doesn't mean you don't need to be on it, because I can tell you right now, 5 years from now, everyone's going to have this renaissance back to Pinterest. So just stay there. Stay on Pinterest. Just weather the storm, and it'll come back. So anyway, this is what people were saying about SEO when I first started blogging. And because I was, still pretty green, I took this advice. I said, you know what? I'm not going to worry about SEO because everyone's saying it's not that important anymore. Google is the thing of the past. Social media is the future. That's where I'm going to put all my eggs. And that was just not wise. I will say I did take a few SEO precautions that a lot of bloggers said you should do, which is add the Yoast SEO plugin to my blog, which is a fantastic plugin. It pretty much just makes it so that you are checking the bare minimum basics for your blog, such as having a meta description, making sure that you're having social media images that populate when you share on different social platforms. So I had that. But other than that, I didn't do anything with SEO. I didn't take any SEO courses. I didn't do any of it. Now that everyone is talking about leaving Pinterest, there is this big movement now for SEO for bloggers. There are courses out there when it comes to SEO for bloggers. There's a lot of people doing free challenges and different things like that because everyone wants to have somewhere to go when something happens with Pinterest. So SEO is definitely something that you need to be doing. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not important. It is. Just like not being on just one platform is important. That's one thing I do want to reiterate when it comes to traffic. You don't want to be getting all your traffic from one place, because all it takes is that one platform to change your mind, change an algorithm, and then all your traffic tanks, which is something I've heard from people who had all their eggs in the SEO basket. I've heard it from people who have all their eggs in the Pinterest basket, the Facebook basket, everywhere. So just don't put all your traffic dreams into one platform, because it's going to change. And when they do, it's going to piss you off eventually. It may not piss you off today, but later on they're going to. So with all that being said, here are some things that you should incorporate when it comes to search engine optimization. The first is making sure you have the Yoast plugin, which we talked about, right? That's important. The second is making sure that your overall on-page SEO is competitive with people who are trying to rank for the same keywords as you. Now, I know that that is a mouthful, right? So the big takeaways from what I just said are keywords. You want to make sure that you are building content around keywords that are competitive. So I use a tool called SEMrush, which is amazing. You can do keyword research on it to figure out what keywords are actually worth your time to compete for when it comes to, is there enough traffic coming to that keyword, first of all? And then second, is there not a whole lot of competition to that keyword? Because even if it has a ton of traffic but it has huge competition, you probably aren't going to rank for it. So I use SEMrush. They give me a green little tick mark saying like, okay, this keyword is perfect for you because it's not super competitive and it's getting good traffic. So I usually do research that way when it comes to what keywords should I put in my article. And then SEMrush also has an SEO writing assistant plugin. So I add this plugin to my site. I pick the keywords that SEMrush told me I should include, and I put it into this tool. And what it does is it pulls up all the different keywords they think I should also add to my article based on the competition. So it looks all over the internet and it says, okay, here are all the top articles that are trying to rank for the same keyword as you. Here are the keywords that they also put in their article. You should put this in your article as well. It is amazing. Honestly, that plugin itself is worth the price of the tool alone. I can go on and on about SEMrush because I can't even call it a tool. It's like a platform, and it has like various different tools within the platform that you can use. I just described two of them in this little segment. If you want to know more about SEMrush, definitely check out my video where I do a full review of SEMrush and how I've used it as a blogger to boost my SEO traffic by over 101%. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, prior to SEMrush, most of my traffic was coming from Pinterest. And I decided, okay, it's time for me to make the switch to SEO because I figured out Pinterest is doing great, but I need more traffic. And over the course of a year, I increased my organic traffic by over 100%. And SEO or organic traffic became my number one source of traffic to my blog over the course of a year. And only reason it took me a year, y'all, is because I was just moving really slow with it, just figuring out SEMrush, using one tool at a time, trying to understand what's a keyword anyway, just going really slow through that whole process. But when you have a tool like SEMrush, like you can definitely increase your traffic and quickly. And the cool part too is if you are doing keyword research for articles that are bringing in income for you, now not only are you increasing your traffic, but you're also increasing your income. I talk a lot about this in a video that I have about affiliate marketing and how I made over 4K in affiliate sales in 1 month. Now, this month, it was the most affiliate income that I made. And I want to say like 95% of the traffic that I got to that affiliate article was all organic. It all came from Google because I did proper keyword research and implemented into my article so that I could get that organic traffic automatically to the article, and the article just happened to be a good one for me to make money. So organic traffic by far compared to all my other strategies when it came to traffic has been the best. It is the most, I guess, consistent traffic because instead of me getting these little spikes, where I get a day of good traffic and then it died, and then I get another day of good traffic and then it died. When it comes to organic, you're seeing waves now. It's just like slowly increasing and it just stays there, it plateaus, and it's awesome. So when I say organic traffic, I mean SEO. So traffic I'm getting from Google and Bing and stuff like that, but also Pinterest. I saw that nice flow of traffic coming from Pinterest as well, because again, Pinterest is more like a search engine, right? So I definitely saw those are my biggest traffic drivers, Pinterest and organic traffic. So if there's anything you can take away from here, some tools that you should probably have in your arsenal is Tailwind, so that you can do the Tailwind community things, and then also using a tool like SEMrush. I also heard that Ahrefs is pretty good when it comes to figuring out your whole organic traffic situation. But the thing about SEO is like it's very difficult to figure out what you need to do when you're not using some type of tool, because you have to be able to do keyword research, right? So whether it's SEMrush or Ahrefs, those are both paid tools. I know some people use the free Google keyword tool. I have no idea how you would go about using that and figuring out if it's a good keyword to target. But yeah, that's another great tool that you could use for keyword research if you don't want to spend money on that just yet. So on the same path as SEO, just talking SEO, I saw this traffic increase or whatever. And I know that one big thing that I figured out through all my SEO stuff that I was doing is I wanted to make sure that Google was automatically picking up my content, right? So I'm writing all this content, I'm sharing it on social media. Like I want to make sure that everyone knows that my blog posts that I'm writing about they exist, right? And I was told once that if you are consistent, right, if you know that you're going to publish a blog post every Wednesday, now Google's bot automatically knows to come crawl your site every Wednesday because your article is going to be published on that day. Well, I did that for a while, and I noticed that some of my content was not being picked up by Google. How did I know this? I use a free tool called Google Search Console. Now, what Google Search Console does is pretty much like your little ticket into Google. You have questions for Google, or you want to know how Google feels about your website. That's what Google Search Console is for. So I created a free profile for my blog on there. And what Google Search Console does is crawl your site, and it says, okay, here are all the keywords that you're ranking for. This is how much organic traffic you're getting to your website. Here are all the keywords that people are clicking. Like, I mean, it's awesome. And what they also do is if there are any articles on your site that have not already been crawled by Google, it allows you to manually put it in. So I went through, I want to say like a month of content on my site and just put the links in to see if Google found them. And I found that 50% of my content that I was publishing was being picked up by Google. So there was another 50% of content on my site that Google did not know existed, even though I was publishing content consistently on the same day. So the moral of this story is make sure that you are submitting your link to your content that you publish to Google Search Console regularly. So that is now a part of my process. Whenever I publish a new blog post, I go to Google Search Console and I submit the link to them so that they know to crawl that page and put it into their search engine, so that people are looking for that a topic related to my article, it will actually populate. So if you've never had a Google Search Console account before, like I said, it's free to sign up for one and log your blog into it. But if you have content already on your site, I highly recommend after you create that account to go ahead and start submitting the links for into Google Search Console for the blog posts you've already published to see which ones have actually been pulled by Google. And you may be surprised. Like I said, only 50% of my content have been pulled into the Google, even though I was consistent about publishing regularly. So it's just a nice precaution to make sure you're not missing any of that free organic traffic to your site. Google Search Console, y'all, it is the best. All right, so let's do a recap of what we talked about so far. I've talked about my story and how I started off trying to get traffic to my blog, starting with being a very sad, lonely blogger, posting content and no one reading it, to me getting organic traffic to my site every single month from Pinterest and Google, and also getting traffic from my various social media channels, and setting up my social media promo on Automate so that it's regularly being shared on social without me having to manually post an older article. So I did all of this to make sure that I'm consistently getting traffic to my blog. Now, what I will say is my blog posts weren't the only things that I wanted to get traffic to. I also wanted to get traffic to my email list. So I know I've mentioned, if you watch any of my other videos where I'm talking about your assets when it comes to your blog, your email list is one of the most important assets that you can have. Why? Because it's an opportunity for you to really build a bond with your audience. You can tell them things about yourself and really get them to know who you are. You can ask them questions about themselves and get to know them as well, and really just build a relationship with them. But you have to have people on your email list. So I saw how good of a process it was for me to share my content on Google Search Console and to share my blog posts on social media. So I figured, why can't I incorporate those same strategies into what I'm doing for my email list? Now, the best way to get people on your email list is to give them something, right? Like, everyone has a ton of people emailing them every single day. And at this point, a lot of people are jaded about giving their email address out at all. Like, who wants spam? Who wants to get stuff that they're not really interested in? So the best way to collect an email address is to give them something worthwhile. It's good to have at least one freebie, but if you have more than one to attract the audience that you want, that's even better. Just make sure that whatever freebie you give away, it's something that is related to whatever content you're going to be talking about. So for example, if you have a finance blog, you don't want to create a freebie that's about, I don't know, owning a pet or something random like that. You want to make sure that you have a freebie that is related to finance, because you want people who are interested in learning about finance and who want to maybe learn more about finance from you. So for me, I know I teach a lot about blogging. So a few of my freebies include, I have a list of 150 influencer networks that I did the research on and figured out which ones have the best sponsored post opportunities. And I sent that out to people. So the list that I update every year, I just started giving it away for free for people because I did the work. I know how much of a pain in the ass it is to have to worry about, oh, this company doesn't exist anymore, but here are 10 new ones that I didn't know about. So I just do that for people and let them sign up for it. Now, if someone is looking for this list of sponsored post opportunities, I know a few things about them already. One, they probably have a blog or some type of social channel where they're interested in sponsored opportunities. Awesome. Another thing I probably know about them, they're doing their research. They're trying to find answers on how to monetize this platform that they own. Also great. Now, this is perfect for me because I have multiple blog courses and products where I teach people how to make money when it comes to your blog, and how to do it specifically with sponsored posts. So my freebie that I created makes a lot of sense in that regard. I did not heed this advice when I first started, and I have freebies for about everything under the sun. And I soon learned that, okay, I have to stop promoting these because it's attracting people that do not fit the, I guess, the path that I want them to go down. I had a lot of people signing up who were never interested in purchasing anything from me, or they were unsubscribing rapidly because they're like, these topics do not have anything to do with what I'm interested in. So whatever it is you're going to do a freebie on, just make sure it's consistent to whatever message you're talking about in your email list. So with all that said, I got these freebies. I started creating social media images for them on Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter. And I started putting them into that regular rotation like I do for my blog posts. I was putting them on social bees so that, every Wednesday I have my freebie that is getting promoted on social media. And then I also set it up in a way so that the pages that they go to actually be able to download my freebie can be found on Google, right? So I wanted to get some organic traffic to those landing pages that I was creating to get people to sign up for my email list. So I made sure I did keyword research and incorporated those keywords into the page. I made sure it had a meta description and a meta title. And then I also chose images that stood out and added alt tags to those images. So not only am I getting people who check out my social media to get my freebies, but people who probably don't even know who I am. And now they're finding my freebies online or just through Google and downloading them from there. Right. So I just took those same strategies that I learned already when it came to traffic and incorporated them into my email strategy. And it was like overnight, I started to see way more people signing up for my email list on a day-to-day basis because of it. So one last thing, since we're talking about email, when it comes to traffic to your blog, I also learned that when I sent out an email to my list with my blog content that I published, this was another way to get traffic to my site. That is right. So my people on my email list, they're awesome because they know me. They've been reading my newsletters. They know what I talk about. So when I publish a new blog for them where I am teaching them this new strategy about traffic, for example, they're going to check it out because like, oh, Jasmine came up with something new. I want to be there to read it first so I can incorporate this into my blog. So your newsletter, your email list is also another great platform that you can use to get traffic to your blog, right? So whenever you're publishing new content, I know some bloggers, they just send an email to the list like, hey, I just created this new blog post. This is why I wrote it. Here, check it out. And that's their newsletter. And, I think that's perfectly fine if that's what you want to be your newsletter. For me, I have a more, I guess, old school kind of newsletter where I talk a little bit about this is what's been going on with me, you guys. And here's some content that I published this week, y'all. And here's a music video that I really like. So mine's a little bit different, but the main point here is you want to make sure that you're, one, building a connection with your audience, and two, getting traffic to your site. So whatever you decide to talk about, make sure that they know how to get back to whatever content is new, or if there are any updates when it comes to your website that should be shared, that they're incorporating that as well. Okay, so man, we've talked about a lot when it comes to driving traffic to your blog already. We've talked about Pinterest. We've talked about SEO. We've talked about various social media channels. And then we talked about a few tools as well when it comes to getting good SEO to your site, as well as tools that we use to schedule out content via social media. I know one platform I have yet to talk about is Instagram. And the reason why it's kind of separate from the rest of this is because it's just different. It's a different platform. And while it is considered to be social media, it is very different compared to other social medias where you can just share, random content, and this person shares it and you can comment on it and all those things. Instagram is a place where you create your own content. Now, there's not a whole lot of sharing of other people's content. It's original, and that's one of the beauties of it. That's why a lot of people like Instagram, because when you're on there, you're seeing original content from people. Now, it has its quirks when it comes to Instagram, because if I share an image, there's not going to be a link where people can actually go to learn more about this product I'm trying to sell, or to sign up for my email list. There is only one place you can put a link, and that is a link in your bio, right? So there's a lot of tools out there. Link in bio is one. Link in profile is another. There's another one called Linktree, and it is made solely for you to be able to put that link in your Instagram account and have multiple links listed for you. I use link in bio, I think is what we use for Blogging Money Life right now. And what it does is it's a link that goes to a page that looks very similar to my Instagram grid. And anyone who clicks on the picture that they were just looking at, it takes them to a link now. So it just makes it so that Instagram is now clickable for different links. Now, what's cool about Instagram is I feel like it's a nice mix between a social media platform, a blog, and maybe a newsletter, because you have so much space to write as much as you want in that caption. You can tell a story. You can describe how you felt that day. You can talk about how delicious the food was that you ate that day, whatever it is. And it really is an opportunity for you to build a relationship with your followers, just like, sending out a newsletter. So Instagram has had lasting power because of that, because it seems like more of an intimate space for you to share your thoughts and not necessarily regurgitate information that someone else keeps sharing over and over again. You can definitely still get a good amount of traffic from Instagram, despite there only being that one place where you can share. I know since I've started it, it's added so many other platforms to it, which makes it easier for you to have links. For example, they have Instagram stories, where if you have 10,000 followers on Instagram, any story that you share on Instagram stories can now be linked outside of Instagram. So that's a big plus for a lot of people who are doing, let's say, sponsor post campaigns for a brand. And I know for a lot of brands, that is a requirement. You have to have 10,000 followers in order to work with brands, because they want to make sure that they can link in your stories, right? So Instagram, it's a great tool. A few tips when it comes to it. You can grow your Instagram account really quick if you are doing a few easy things. One, you want to make sure that you're being consistent when it comes to posting on Instagram. I say at least once a day. You can do more than that, that's cool, so long as you are posting at least once a day. As soon as you stop posting, you start losing those subscribers that you gained. Right, so post once a day. Another thing that you want to do is make sure that it looks nice, right? Instagram, we go there for the beauty. There is a great platform for artists or people who have something that they want to share about their photography. It started as like the photography platform, the platform for photographers. Like literally, the logo for Instagram is a camera. So make sure your images look beautiful, not only as an individual image with good lighting and colors that pop, but also in your main grid. So a lot of people do a pattern in their grid, whether it be like checkers, or they only use certain colors on their grid, or they make one big picture with it. Whatever it is, it definitely appeals to people who like to see those patterns, and it gets more people to sign up and want to know what the next image is going to be, right? So that's something else that you can do. Just make sure that they're pretty. You want to make sure that you're being thoughtful when it comes to whatever captions you're adding. And on that same note, making sure that you are speaking to your audience. If you get comments from people, make sure you're replying and saying, hey, thanks for commenting on this, or just giving them answers. One of the good things about Instagram is it does allow you to talk to whoever you want. You want to go and comment on Rihanna's post, go ahead and comment on Rihanna's post. Who knows? She may reply back to you. So you want to make sure if Rihanna can do that, then so can you. All right. So make sure you're replying to people. And then I want to say one of the biggest tips that I like to do when it comes to finding my audience on Instagram is finding people that I like and following them. And the way it works is if you follow 10 people, there's a high likelihood that at least one of those 10 people are going to follow you back, right? So be mindful of who you're actually following. So that's something that you can be mindful of. Training Spoken says she won't reply to you. So yes, you're right. Rihanna may not reply to you, but if you have a really good comment, she might, right? Okay, I know I'm probably dreaming, but because Rihanna does not reply to you, wouldn't it be nice if someone actually got a reply from you? Like, oh wow, she actually replied. That's so nice. Anyway, so that is something that you want to be mindful of. Just being personable on Instagram and making sure that you're building those connections with people. Oh, so following. When it comes to following people, follow people who you think would be a good fit for your audience. So you remember what I said when it came to freebies on your audience. You want to make sure that you are sharing something that's relevant, right, to the people you are trying to target. The same thing goes when it comes to following others. I look for other bloggers on Instagram and I follow them. And then I look at who those audiences are, because they will probably like my content too. So I typically follow my competitors' followers. And I do this occasionally because it's a good way for people to learn who I am and I can get to know them too. And then if you're going to follow someone, it's good to go on their accounts and comment and see what their thoughts are when it comes to blogging and stuff like that, and start building that relationship early, right? So just a good platform to build relationships and to be creative, right? We get into blogging because we do have a little creative spark, whether that be taking good photography or just enjoying writing. And Instagram allows you to do both of those things, taking good pictures and being able to write. So yeah, that's my whole spiel on Instagram. I know I spent a little bit of time on there, but there are so many things you can do to like boost your Instagram traffic quickly. I talk about this course I took called Instagram Domination, which was amazing. And I know they just recently updated the course this year. I think it's like 3.0. So definitely check it out. I have the link to that in my video that went up today about my top 5 blogging courses. It's really good and it should really help with getting your traffic up as well as growing your Instagram. Okay, so let's see here. Johnny Spoken says, I get what you're saying. Awesome. Jasmine will reply to you. I will reply to you. Yay. Yeah, Rihanna probably won't. So all of that to say is there are so many ways, you guys, that you can drive traffic to your blogs. If you're feeling discouraged because you publish something and you're not getting a whole lot of traffic, just know that they're out there, right? There are people out there who want to hear what you have to say, but they have to know that you exist. And if you use a lot of the strategies that I talked about today, you should be able to reach more of those people who are looking for you. So I hope this was helpful. I know I feel like it was more of like a lecture as opposed to a Q&A today. But if anyone has any other questions, feel free to post them in the comments and I'll make sure to keep an eye on that and answer them for you guys if I see any more pop up. But thanks for joining, and I will see you all next month in the October Q&A. All right, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.